Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to another scintillating episode of Food Tech with Mrs. Schiller. Today we're going to be talking about how to cost a recipe. I've designed a spreadsheet here for you to use, but there are some things you will need to do to be able to calculate the cost of the whole recipe you're making, and then we're also going to look at calculating the cost of one quantity of the recipe you're using. If you have a look up here in the top left side of the recipe, in the first four names, there's some important details you need to fill in, like your name, the name of the recipe location. So if you're going to use a website, put that in. If it's come from a book, make sure put the name of the book and also the page number in it as the reference, and then the amount of serves for each recipe. I'll just fill that in now for you. So I filled that in. It's really important to do that, not just for your reference, but for mine later on if we're looking at it, so we can make sure everything's okay. Now you need to fill in the ingredients. Now this scone recipe has a few basic ingredients, and the first one is butter. And you'll see I've filled in here under the ingredient column butter, and then we come across, we'll look at purchase quantity, cost of purchase, and this is where we need to go next. So we need to look at the recipe itself, and I know that this scone recipe needs 20 grams. You'll see it's got the 2 decimal places there. That's not so important for these larger quantities or anything that's rounded out, but later on you'll see with salt we need that because we've got to put it's a quarter of a teaspoon and we need to convert that to grams. And then we go and we fill that in for the rest of the ingredients. So there's self-raising flour, and we need 300 grams of that. Then we have reference salt. This is where we need. Now this recipe called for a quarter of a teaspoon. I've used the conversion chart with the basic recipe ingredients on it, and I know that that's 1.25 grams for a quarter of a teaspoon. And milk, we need 1 cup, which is 250 mils. So above here we've got, if you've got the quantity up here, it tells you need to convert it to grams or mils, and that makes it simple when we come in to put their purchase quantity as well. Now once we've done that, we need to then reference the cost of the docker or the cost using Woolworths website, and I've gone and found out that the butter at the moment is $2.59 for 500 grams. So a 500 gram block is what we'll be buying. Oh, where did I put that? 500, wrong spot. 500 will go here on the purchase quantity for the butter. So that's the size of the package it comes in, and that costs $2.59. You notice that nowhere do I put the dollar sign or the grams or the mils. You don't want to fill that in because that's going to mix up Excel and it won't know what to do. I'll just pause now while I fill the rest in. So now we have all of the purchase quantity, so the amount that each package comes in, and we also have the cost of that package. You'll note, for example, that on the milk, I would have bought a 3 litre container of milk, so I've converted it to the mils. So we need to make sure that we use grams or mils here, as we have here, grams or mils. So you'll need to convert some things over. Up above here I've put some little handy reminders that 1 kilo is 1,000 grams, 1 litre is 1,000 mils. Now if you have a look at the volume in liquid of a cup, you'll see that I've given you those quantities there, and the volume, excuse that first thing. Please excuse that interruption, it's amazing what happens around here. So anyway, where were we? We were talking about the fact that I've given you the liquid quantities for measurements of a cup, and also the liquid quantities, and I'll put that up here as well, for spoon measurements. So if you're measuring if you're trying to convert a solid, you will need to use the reference for the commonly used ingredients that we were talking about before. That'll be on the website as well. So we've got that. Now we need to work out how much each of those ingredients costs for this recipe. Now Excel has a really handy little feature that we can use, and it makes it quite simple to do a mathematical formula or a sum or etc. We just need to put an equal sign, then it knows that we're trying to calculate something. And to calculate how much each of the ingredients costs, we need to just go across and we click on the quantity for the recipe, and then we divide that using the backslash by the quantity of the volume that we purchased, and then we need to multiply that by the cost of that purchase. The formula and a descriptor of this is on the post that you'll find on the wall in Home Ec and or in the website. Now that if we hit enter now, you'll see that the butter costs 10 cents. To make it even easier, we don't have to do that every time. Once we've done that once, we just click on this little square on the right of that top box. So put your cursor on that, make sure that's highlighted and scroll down, just covering the ones we've looked at, and handy dandy, ping, there it is. It's all done for us. Now you'll see that salt was such a minimal amount for a 90 cents cost us for a kilo, so 1.25 grams it's saying. Don't even worry about it, and I wouldn't, but at least you've shown that you've put it in there. Now we're going to sum it up, and so we need to create a total. Creating a total is quite simple. We need to just put a little symbol, title here, so we can see that this is going to be the total, and we use, once again, Excel has some lovely features. We're just going to click on auto sum, and what auto sum does is it just goes from where you've put your cursor, it goes up, and it looks at all of the numbers that appears above, and you see it stops at cost of recipe, so it knows that that's not a number it has to add together. And if we hit enter, $1.08, so it costs us $1.08 to make $1.08, I should say, to make 12 scones. Not too bad. Now we want to know how much each scone costs. Once again, pretty simple. We'll go cost per serve, and then we go across into another blank space, and underneath, now once we're going to tell it what we want it to do, so we want equals, and we want to divide the total cost divided by 12, and 9 cents per scone. So when we're doing our calculations for any catering, etc., we just use that 9 cents for a serve. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. This Excel spreadsheet, the blank one that you'll need to fill in, will be in the website in the area about costing. Also, we'll have a copy of, you'll find a copy of the reference for commonly used items and anything else that I think you might require.